Just want to say CO to everybody. Brad Wagnon, I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator here at CCO. We're glad to be back with a COTTA training. It's been a while since we had one. We had one back in January or February, and things have gotten really busy here the last few months. We've also had some weekly trainings going on with some different topics, and so we didn't want to overload everybody with training, but we're back, and we are putting our best foot forward. We're putting our home run hitter up here first, Vince Feeling, and just want to again say CO to everybody. And I'm going to let Savannah talk next, introduce herself. She's still kind of new with us. We're not counting the COVID year, so here's Savannah.
Yep, so I've officially been here for 6 months now, if we don't count the COVID year. And also, Brad saying Vince is a home run hitter, we know that that's not true. I am the home run hitter. So, hello everyone. It's good to be back on a training. It has been a while, like Brad said. Man, it just people keep coming in. This is good. And I'm excited about Vince's presentation. I think he's got some good things to say. So yeah, hope everybody's doing well. Glad for the cooler weather. It's been super hot. So yeah.
Okay, looks like we still got people coming in. Man, that is a good number. That's a good number, people. And I'm seeing a lot of names from a lot of friends and some family in there too. Thanks for joining us today. One thing about us at CCO and the Cherokee Nation as well is we like to include God in as pretty much everything that we do. So I'm going to ask Brad if he would open this training up with a word of prayer.
Well, Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for all your blessings, God. We just thank you for this time that we can share together, even if it's virtually over our computers, Lord. We just thank you for all the folks that are in attendance here tonight. It'd be great soon when we get to see all their faces and maybe even give them a hug. We just thank you for everybody that works here at CCO and all of our organizations, both here and at large. We just ask that you would help us in this time to learn, have our ears and our minds and our hearts open for what we need to know. Lord, just pray that you would just help us to remember that the number one thing that we're here for is to serve Cherokee communities and serve Cherokee people. Again, we thank you for this day and for this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started here. Hello, everybody. My name is Vince Feeling, and I'm a technical assistant specialist with community and cultural outreach. And we are going to be talking about transparency and nonprofit organizations, something I entitled Clearing It Up. So we're going to go ahead and share my screen here with you today. And we are going to get started. All right, clearing it up, transparency in nonprofit organizations. All right, growing up, I used to watch a lot of TV, probably too much TV, more TV than I really needed to watch. But one of the favorite series of mine is The Twilight Zone. And I always enjoyed watching those black and white footages with Rod Serling, you know, right at the beginning, just kind of framing the episode. And it was always suspenseful and stuff. So going into this next part, you got to think about that. So let's do this. Let's try this a little bit. Imagine, if you will, it's 105 degrees in the Cherokee Nation. 105 degrees and the rain has not came in days. Grass is starting to die. But things still go on. Life goes on. And things in life, some of them are awesome. Most are awesome. But it's the sweltering heat of a nice June day. You decide to go down because you're Cherokee. You want to get wet. You want to cool off. So you're walking down to a nice creek. The creek looks cool, inviting. It's clear. You can see the rocks. You can see everything that God gave us. Looking around, a jot, you see a fish. Geez, stun, you see a crawdad. Oh, look, over on the bank, willows. You're looking at it and you're thinking, man, this is something that I really want to be a part of. I really want to get into this. I want to get into this water. But as you're thinking, you turn around and it's like a different dimension. You see another stream, but this one is different. This one's not clear. This one is murky and muddy. Now, it could probably get you cool. It could probably get you wet, just like the other one. So you go ahead and decide to go into this one. Remember, you have a choice. So you chose this one. How bad can it be? Suddenly, you're getting ready to wade in. But the friend that's with you starts screaming, "Ah! Inad Jagote! I see a snake, Ade." And then you're like, "What?" You said, "I see a snake, Jagut." Sees a snake. Ladies and gentlemen, which one would you choose? If it's a hot summer day, would you choose something that's inviting, clear, you could see stuff? Or would you choose something that's a little bit more hazy, a little bit more unknown? I don't know about you, but I would choose the one that's clear. Okay, well, however, I do have cousins that would go on the side of the murky one because they like to noodle. But that's just not my thing. I'm always scared of what may be in there. But what if I told you that your nonprofit organizations are pretty much exactly the same thing? When you're talking about nonprofit organizations, everybody sees the work that you do. Everybody sees the nonprofit organization that is yours. How is it to them? What does it look like to them? Is it clear? Is everything above board? Do they see the things that you're doing? Is it inviting to them? Or is it kind of muddy? Is it kind of uncertain? Now, they may both be doing some great things, but which one would you do? Which one would you go to first? Think about that. That's the question that I want to pose to you today. And that is why we're talking about transparency. Which one would you go to? And you have a choice. You always have a choice of which nonprofit organization that you want to support or that you want to be a part of. So today we're going to be talking about transparency. I know transparency can mean a lot to a lot of people, but here is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about how it provides context to decisions, commitment to a certain set of behaviors. We're going to tell how it builds trust. One of the most important things transparency does in an organization is builds trust. And trust is something that could be excruciatingly slow, but then at the same time could be lightning fast. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. Transparency could also empower your organization, give them strength, the ability to go out and do things where you are, do some good in your communities. Transparency can do that. It can help you achieve these things. It has many benefits. It really does. So, transparency, it provides context. What it does is really it keeps members in the loop. It lets members know what exactly is going on in your organization. You do not want one person making all the decisions in your group and keeping members out of the loop. I say that because the sum of many is a lot better than what one person can do. So you want to keep all of your members in the loop. You want to let the members know why the decisions are being made. That's pretty much just keeping them in the loop, knowing why the decisions are being made. And also, you want to invite members to help you make these decisions. Remember, this is a nonprofit organization. It's not just one person. It's not meant to be one person. You want to invite members to help you make these decisions. Now, we've already touched on the more members that you have, the more people that you have working towards a specific goal is good, and you can get a lot done. A lot of times more than just one person trying to work towards that same goal. With a lot more people, it's a little bit easier. You may get there faster, you may get there slower, but still, it's a little bit easier. Thinking about this, providing context, whenever you invite members to something, it gives them a sense of ownership. It gives them a sense of inclusiveness. And we'll get into that a little bit later as well. Transparency also means that your organization is willing to commit to a set of behaviors. And these behaviors are simple. They're really, really simple. Be inclusive. Be inclusive. People who are included, as I said, have a sense of ownership. They have a sense of themselves vested into the organization. And when somebody feels that way, they usually tend to work harder. There's a higher sense of loyalty, and they can also be a bit more productive. They can make the group or your organization more productive. So try to include everybody. Try to include the people that you can. Be inclusive. That's one behavior that can create transparency. Another thing is communicate. I've said this time and time again, and I truly believe it. We are living in an age right now where it's never been easier to communicate with one another. However, we shouldn't overlook the actual fact of having a conversation with somebody, actually going up, introducing yourselves, talking about things that may be bothering you in the organization, or just making friendships, actually communicating the old way, the way that we did long before we had all these telephones, Instagrams, Facebooks, social media. We shouldn't get past that. Like, we shouldn't deviate any farther than we have. Even though we have all these things that allow us to communicate easier, it seems like we're slowly getting away from the ability to actually communicate. So communication is key in a lot of things. And it's also key to keep your organization strong. And it's also key in building transparency in your nonprofit organization. And you have to be honest. That goes without saying. Just be honest. Now, transparency, the main thing that you have to look at when you're trying to build transparency is you're also trying to build trust. As I said, it's both excruciatingly slow and could be lightning fast. Excruciatingly slow by the amount of trust that is built. It takes a long time for an organization to build trust. It really does. And if something happens in that organization, and the public sees it, that trust could be gone just like that. So think about it this way. Trust is something that we can't just ask for and get. A lot of times in our lifetime, how many times have you heard, trust me? And you probably didn't really know that person. Now, if you knew that person and they said, trust me, you might be more than willing to kind of try to trust them and build that trust with them. If you knew that person, that goes the same way with your organizations. If people knew your organizations, if people saw you out doing all these good things that your organizations do, and our Cherokee organizations really do a great deal, and it's my privilege to work with you all. Build that trust. If people see that and you say trust them, they're more than willing to probably trust you, though they could see that your stream is clear, and more than likely they'll be willing to get into that stream. One thing about humans is that we're wired to be able to accept good news, and we're able to accept bad news. What we're really not able to accept and what really makes us uncomfortable is uncertainty. So when things are kind of on the fritz and nobody really has any answers, that's when we tend to not like what's going on. As I said, we can take good news and we can take bad news, but it's uncertainty that we really can't take. It really makes us worry. Probably tends to put up those stress levels. One thing we need to do whenever you're talking about building trust is we need to be authentic. Be authentic. Let's be real. Because really, you never know who is watching your organization. Think about it. Who is watching your organization? Who? It could be a leader. It could be a young kid who's going to grow up to do great things. And your organization is the one that's teaching them how to do it. You're passing down knowledge that you didn't even know about to this young kid, to this young leader. Think about it. Be real. Be authentic. Now, there's some benefits of transparency. First thing we're going to talk about are the internal benefits of transparency. And I see some hands being raised, and we will allow a short time after the presentation to answer any questions that you may have. So please feel free to keep those questions and ask all the questions that you want at the end of the presentation here. And we'll try to get to all of them as many as we can. So what are the benefits to transparency? Man, there's a lot of benefits to transparency. For one, look at the internal benefits. If an organization is transparent and people are willing to trust the organization, if the organization seems to be trustworthy, they're going to probably help them. They're going to increase your bottom line. Now, in business, whenever we talk about the bottom line, we're talking about money. It's monetary. But in a nonprofit organization, we're talking about the bottom line being the goods, the services that you provide your communities out there. But still, it's tied to how much it's going to cost. So if your organization is transparent, if people trust your organization, if it's trustworthy, it's going to increase your bottom line. It really is. Because people are going to want to be a part of it. They're going to see the great things that you're doing, and they're going to say, I want that. That's what they're going to say. I want to help that. I want to be a part of that. That's what increasing the bottom line means. And that's how transparency can do. It can help increase your bottom line. Another internal, my bad, talking about refines accountability. When things are above board and everybody knows what's going on, accountability is something that you really don't have to worry about. We know who's in charge. We know who's in charge of something. We know this stuff. It refines it. It puts it out there. Who is accountable for this organization? You know. That's the benefit of internal transparency. Externally, it builds trust. It builds trust. It builds trust to the people that are out there looking in. And if people trust your organization, if people can see the transparency in your organization, they're going to want to help. They're going to want to be a part of it. And that's some of the benefits of transparency. But you may be saying, okay, I understand this. I understand the benefits. I understand what you're trying to say about transparency. But what can I do to help build this transparency? Well, it's not as, it's probably not as difficult as you think. And here is one simple way to help your organization build this transparency that I'm talking about. One simple way. Now, 1 second. Are you ready? Here is one simple way your organization could build transparency. Have a real website. Yes, have a real website. You look at all the organizations out there that are really well known, the large organizations. If there was a natural disaster somewhere, say for instance, maybe a tornado or a fire somewhere around here, and a lot of lives were touched during this time, who would you call? But look at it through the eyes of a person that doesn't live here. For example, somebody might call the Red Cross. Somebody might call Doctors Without Borders. Some people may call Samaritan's Purse. These are all reputable organizations, nonprofit organizations out there that help people during times of crisis. And if I was to want to know how to get in touch with these people, maybe how to donate, one thing that I would do is I would go to their website, not their Facebook, not their Instagram, but their website. So have a real website. Now there's a bunch of hosting places out there that could do this for you. You got to shop around. GoDaddy is one of them. I've used GoDaddy in the past. They're easy to work with. They're relatively inexpensive. And whenever you think about it, this is something that is going to help your organization build its capacity. So you could also use COTTA funding to actually do this website. Think about it. As I said, information and access. People may want to know what you're doing out there. People want to know what your organization is about. They may want to know how to get in touch with your organization. And a website is something that can happen, that can make that happen easily. Now, it's good to have social media. It's good to have Facebook. It's good to have LinkedIn, whatever you use. It's good to have those things. But it's also good to have a real dedicated website. It's something that is your organization's alone. It'll be your own branding. It'll be your own domain name. And all of these things are seen by the public. And what this does is it establishes credibility, which will help build trust which would also help build transparency in your organization. So if there's one thing that you take away from this particular presentation for your organization, one way to help build your organization's transparency, it's this: have a real website. So information and access is one reason. Another reason is you could use it as a brochure. For the most part, you have practically unlimited amount of data that you can put on there as far as text and pictures. Now, if you want to do video and something a little more intricate than that, you'll probably have to pay for a little bit more storage. But for the most part, use it as a brochure. Use it. It's unlimited. You want to put some of your accomplishments on there. Now, it's not bragging by any means. You want to put something that your organization has done. You want to put success stories on there. If anybody wants to give money to your organization, they also want to know what you're doing. Give them a little bit of history. Use it as a brochure. Don't just start with, please give us money. No, they want to know what you're doing. They want to know what you have done. And they want to know what's going on right now. Have your mission statement and have your vision. Mission statement is pretty much static. It's why your organization was founded. It's what your organization wants to do. Include your mission statement on your website. A vision. It's important to note the difference between a vision and a goal. Both are important in an organization. Let's talk about a goal. A goal is something that once you meet, it's done. Then what? A vision is something that's always being refined. It's always being revised. This is the way I picture it. So you have your organization, and here is your vision. And your organization is going to keep working toward your vision. And right before it gets to your vision, you change your vision. You revise it. You make it do more. You try to reach more people. You try to raise more money. You try to do more things in your community. That way you're always working towards your vision. If you don't do that, your organization will get stale and your organization won't grow. Always work towards your vision and make sure that you always revise your vision. Because what worked 10 years ago may not work now. Or if it's still working, what are some ways that you can improve it? That's not a goal. That's the vision of your organization. And you want that on your website. You want your mission statement and you want your vision. Think about your organizational management information as well. I would go as far as doing a bio for each board member, just a short bio, pictures. You don't necessarily have to have contact information for every single board member, but just let them know that who's in charge, who's the people that you will be working with if you want to be a part of this organization. Let them know where they come from. Let them know who they are. They want to know. Also, some more organizational management info could be your bylaws. Your bylaws are something that pretty much hardly ever change. They're static. So what you could do is you could just have a separate tab with nothing but documents. Include your bylaws. Also, you could even post your 990s. And if you're large enough, you could post your audits. Now, if you do have audits, that means you have a lot of donors. I would be careful to delete specific donor info. Now, there's a lot of people that donate to organizations that do not want any recognition. They just want to be a part of something that's bigger than they are. And that's fine. That's perfect. Honor their requests. If you do put audits on your website, be careful and delete specific donor info if they do not want that released. But as far as your 990s go, you may be thinking, well, I don't know about that. That's kind of iffy. That's kind of iffy. 990s are nothing but summaries of your organization's finances. Summaries of your organization's finances. Now, if your organization doesn't make more than $50,000 a year, you're going to do a 990N. And you can also find on the IRS website if an organization has filed their 990N for that year or not. It's a matter of public record. Also, 990s, what if I told you that they're also a matter of public record, which means that they're already out there. If your organization is a 501c3, it's already out there. I tell everybody to go to this site right here. This is another tool that you could use to help get information out about your organization. Guidestar. Now you can go here and you can create an account. It's totally free. And what this does is it has more information about all the nonprofits that are in America. The last count, I think there was 2.7 million nonprofits in America. So if your organization is a 501c3, it will be listed with Guidestar. It will. So I would strongly suggest that you go check it out, make an account. It's totally free. And do a search. Do a search for your organization and to see what they have out there on your organization. Now, they get their information from different sources. One is they get their information from the IRS master file, which is why they have 990Ns posted on this for every organization that has filed 990Ns in the past, or 990s, excuse me. They have these listed, and you can download them and you can go through. But they also allow you to self-report about your organization. So you can go on here, find your organization, claim your organization, and talk about your mission. Talk about some of the stuff that you've done. The more information that is on here, the more likely people are going to want to try to work with you. Maybe donate, but if not donate, maybe donate their time. Social capital is very important when you're talking about a nonprofit. So I'm not going to get into the main intricacies of this website. This is something that I really would like for you all to check out in your free time. But I did do this one search. And I searched for the Cherokee National Historical Society. And this is what came up. And this is, there's more information once you click on the actual name of the organization, but look at all the information that we have here. Arts and Culture Museum, Historical Activities, Ethnic Museums. This is what it is. The society also has a historically accurate ancient village. It's what it is. It's what it does. Part of what it does. It also shows gross receipts for the organization and how much assets the organization has. So I would strongly suggest that you log on to this website and check it out and actually take control of your organization. If your organization is a 501c3, it's on here. So check it out. Self-report. Give people a little bit more info. With more info, you're going to be building a culture of trust, which is also going to build a culture of transparency. It really is. So that is pretty much the main presentation. It was very short. I wanted it to be rather to the point. But the main thing is this: trust. Trust is something that it's very slow at becoming, but it's very quick at losing. And once you lose your trust, sometimes it probably never comes back. But if an organization is transparent, if people know what's going on in the organization, if the organization includes them in decisions, if the organization does what they say they're doing, transparency is a good thing. Creates trust, which in return creates transparency. So these are my references. I always give a shout out to the people that have came before me and done some of the work. You can go back and watch some of the stuff here. And with that, this is my business card per se. So I'm going to turn it back over to Brad for a minute. And I think we're going to do some questions. Do we have any questions? I'll turn it back over to Brad.
All right, if you have questions, we have a question and answer feature there at the bottom. They can be questions pertaining to this training, which I'll let Vince answer. They can be some questions pertaining to COTTA or CCO in general, and I can try to answer them to the best of my ability. If I can't answer them, I will make a note of them and find the answer. So the question and answer button is down at the bottom of your screen. If you have questions, please type them there.
So I want to say this, the reason you're still seeing this is because I want you to have my contact information. So if there's any other questions that you may have after this, please feel free to reach out to me. Also, if you want to go ahead and screenshot this, we are going to go ahead and give away a few items during this. So Savannah's going to pick out a few random names. And after this, you could email me your information. What I would like to have would be your mailing address and your t-shirt size. Mailing address and t-shirt size. And if you could send that to me at my email there. So I'll give you just a few more minutes to go ahead and jot that down or maybe screenshot it. But after this, we will walk into the prize vault here at CCO, and we'll gather some stuff and we'll send it your way.
Okay, we have a question, and it's a general question about nonprofits. The question's, can you have raffles as a nonprofit? The answer to that question is yes, you can have raffles as a nonprofit, with the stipulation being you need to ask for donations as the fee for the tickets. It's just like, it's the same as playing bingo or something as a nonprofit and giving away prizes. If somebody doesn't have the donation, you still have to let them play bingo, or you still have to let them have the raffle ticket, because if you don't do that, it can go against the IRS's gambling rules for nonprofits. So basically, when you advertise a raffle or you advertise bingo, something like that, it needs to say a dollar amount and donation. And 99% of people are going to give you the donation or give you a donation, even if it's not the specified amount for the ticket or for the bingo card or whatever. It just toes the line of gambling if that's not how it's worded or how it's ran. And if you want to look at the IRS's rules on gambling, they're readily available on the IRS website. Just irs.gov and search gambling or not gambling for nonprofits, and you'll find the page. All right, got more questions. Is it possible to buy event officer insurance through the nation? Not that I'm aware of. As far as I know, the only insurance that Cherokee Nation offers for Cherokee nonprofits is building insurance. So actual building insurance, if your building gets broken into or gets damaged or something like that, they have building insurance. I don't know of any liability or board insurance that's offered through Cherokee Nation. Thank you for the presentation. Going beyond transparency, is there a compiled list of resources and best practices that you recommend? No and yes. There's not a lot of stuff that you can read, but we do have a lot of videos about basic board rules and regulations, volunteer recruitment, financial planning, capital planning. There's a whole list of videos on our CCO YouTube page. If you go to YouTube and type Cherokee Nation CCO, you will find over 100 videos on different topics from Cherokee history, Cherokee culture, but we also have several presentations on basic things that nonprofits need to know, like volunteer recruitment, different things like that. So yeah, you can go to the CCO YouTube page and watch a lot of videos pertaining to those topics. Great presentation, great program. Mass communication, community members. Yeah, that would be, Sky, that would be through the COTTA program. Anything you can use to promote your organization, you can use COTTA money for. And software is definitely a part of that. To run your organization is basically what COTTA. COTTA stands for Community Outreach Training and Technical Assistance. And so anything technical assistance, anything that will increase your capacity will be able to be bought with the COTTA funds. Vince shared his business card again, even though my questions and answers are over the top of it. Comments of COVID restrictions. Can our organization plan activities such as a flea market indoors? Yes. A couple weeks ago, our boss, Kevin Stretch, the supervisor here director here at CCO, sent out an email from the Cherokee Nation officially saying that community buildings can be reopened using CDC guidelines. And if you want the CDC guidelines, they're very easy to find. So precautions need to be taken. And if anybody wants that email, in fact, I may just go ahead and forward that email again, since I'm not sure if everybody got it or not. But yes, you can start planning indoor activities. Basically, the rule is that if the vaccination status of not every one of the activity is known, then masks and social distancing are required. So that's the gist of it. If everybody that, say for a board meeting or something, if everybody on the board is vaccinated, and you know that for a fact, then those precautions are not required, although they're still encouraged. So yes, you can do that. Got another question? Does Cherokee Nation help at-large groups apply for grants? Yes. There is a person at Cherokee Nation that actually has a contract with CCO Cherokee Nation. Her name is Lindy Conover, and I can share her information in an email as well. Lindy is contracted specifically to help at-large organizations. She's been helping some gain their 501c3 status, different things like that. And Lindy is a grant specialist. That's what she does. In fact, in the past, for several years, she's presented on grants at our conference and at our trainings. So Lindy Conover is the person to look up for that. And like I said, I will I will email her information out to the same list that I emailed out for this presentation. And if you don't get that, or if you want to contact me personally, it's bradley-wagnon@cherokee.org, and just tell me you want Lindy's information and I'll get that to you. What can we do to generate membership besides the annual Chiefs visit? Our meetings usually only have the same 20 to 25 people show up. You're not alone. That is a common question. Both on reservation and at large groups want people to show up to their meetings. My main recommendation is one of the things that Vince talked about. Have a presence on the internet, a website where people can contact you. Even a Facebook page is good where people can contact you, and ask people, on your website, to enter their information. One of the main ways of getting more membership is to compile a list of people, a list of emails, phone numbers, people that you can reach out to. We sent this training invite out to a whole lot more people than we normally do. And so we got a whole lot more people here this time than we have in the past. So that's one thing, ask people, collect people's information, ask them if you can contact them when you have another meeting or when you have another event. It's a little bit different here versus at large, because most of the time the at large folks are spread out over a larger distance. One of the things I could also recommend is start, those board members or those 20, 25 people, get involved in other organizations in your community. You'll find Cherokee people in large communities that you didn't even know were Cherokee. So, get involved in the Rotary or get involved in another nonprofit in your community, and find those people that are interested in being a part. Like I said, there'll be Cherokee people among a lot of those other organizations that may not even know that there is a Cherokee organization in their town or in their city. So those are some suggestions. We need to do another training. We haven't done one in a while on volunteer recruitment, because that's really, when you say you want people to attend your meetings, you want people to get involved as volunteers. Another thing that I tell people is give them something to do, because that'll either run them off or they'll get involved. So give people something to do. Your board doesn't have to be the only people that plan things. You can have an event committee that involves different members, and give them some ownership, some responsibility, things to do, and you'll find people will stick around more often if they have something that they're responsible for. Will COTTA help us in sending of meeting events to members within our area via email? We don't have access to a complete list of Cherokees in our area. Yes, you can request that. I'm assuming you might be at-large organization. Usually what you can do if you're an at-large organization is you can request a phone blast if you have a meeting or you're wanting to recruit members, if you're wanting to have more people. Those are kind of expensive for Cherokee Nation to do, but we do have the capability of doing that. That's why we usually only do them for the annual meetings. But there has been, before COVID, I know there was some money set aside just to do that for at-large organizations for some of their regular meetings. Not every single one, but maybe 1 or 2 times a year. Send out a phone blast, and I would get a hold of Kevin for that, Kevin-Stretch@Cherokee.org, and he can tell you more about that. Questions? I like them. Oh, this is just a Wado, Brad and Vince.
All right, Savannah, let's hear those names that you picked out. Now, these are the people that have won door prizes for attending. So yeah, as soon as we get these names, we're going to get addresses slapped on them. We're going to walk into the vault, pick out something nice.
All right. All right, we're going to draw 3 names. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, 3 random names. Go ahead and pick some up.
All right. So the first name is Monty Hall. Woo!
Yay, Monty. Hopefully we'll get to
Monty
see
Hall.
you soon, Monty.
Yep. Make sure you send your address, t-shirt size to Vince. Second person is Sandra Pulido. Hope I said that right. Your second winner. Third one is Sky Pull. Oh, those are our 3
So
winners.
you guys send your information to Vince. We had one more question from Sky, and she asked, how can we get community involvement in the board meetings if they can't speak? Well, they can speak. If you add a time in your agenda for comments from the community, you can do that. Another thing, I always find food is attractive to people, even if it's just cookies and lemonade or something. That's how you could get some people showing up to your board meetings. What else? Again, give them something to do. If put out there that you're, looking for community participation on a committee, an event committee or a building committee or something like that, and you'll get people to come in that way as well. And then you can kind of limit, that public comment section. You can say, well, this is the time for our building committee report, or this is the time for our event committee report. So those people on that committee, even though they're not a part of the board, would get time to speak and give their ideas as well. So that's a few things. Sky, you've got my contact information. You can text me and I'll try to come up with some more. But those are a couple ways that you can get community participation without necessarily just opening up the floor for anybody and everybody to speak. Your board meetings need to not last that long. Hour and a half is a good time for board meetings to last. That will also get more community participation, because if you have a 3-hour board meeting, those people aren't going to hang around for that. So limit your time for your board meetings as well to an hour and a half at most. And you might get more people showing up. Food. Kevin, when can someone from Cherokee Nation come to at-large groups for a presentation? Well,
This weekend.
Kevin, we're asking that same question as well. As of right now, they have not approved general travel for Cherokee Nation employees. I'm hoping that will be soon, but we don't have a definite date for that yet. That's completely up to our administration and our public health officials. The administration has relied heavily on Cherokee Nation public health to tell us when it's safe to do those things. And but I can tell you right now that we're looking forward to it just as much as you are. We're missing our folks both in district and at large. We've started doing some in district travel and going to some board meetings and things like that, but very sparingly still. So I don't have an answer for you, but we'll let you know as soon as we know. Thank you, Sky. No. All right. Do we have any other questions or comments?
I'm going to announce the other 3 or the 3 winners again, just real quick. So Monty Hall, Sandra Polito, and Sky Pohl. Email vincedealing@cherokee.org.
And I put my business card up there again.
I keep covering it up.
I just want to thank everybody that came to this training. This is awesome. We had about 60. That's great. That's great numbers for this. This is awesome. Thank you all for coming. I hope you all learned something. I hope you all felt that, you know, got something out of this. I know I did. It's always a blessing for me to actually do this, and it's always fun for me as well. So thank you all for coming. Thanks for the great questions, and we hope to see you all again soon, very soon.
No.
Yep. Good job, Ben.
What on?